Jake here for Extreme Terrain, and today I'm taking a look at the MagnaFlow Street Series single-side exit exhaust system with black tips fitting 2022 and newer Tundra Crew Max models. Now, this Street Series exhaust from MagnaFlow is perfect for the Tundra owner who is looking for an upgrade to their truck that will be both enjoyable and a bit more on the subtle side. Now, the hallmark of this system is that it gives you a better, deeper, and more noticeable tone without going overboard on volume. I like to call this series from MagnaFlow a bit of the Goldilocks type of system, as they really seem to strike a good balance between improved sound and livability. And for that reason, this one is going to get a 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter. It's still a noticeable increase versus stock, but it's a great choice still for a daily driven truck. The new Tundra sounds way different than the outgoing model thanks to the twin-turbo V6 that replaced the outgoing V8. And while we may all bemoan the death of another V8 over here, this engine does have some serious chops, and it's no joke. Now, MagnaFlow has come along to make it sound the business too. You get some really nice grumble out of this system, even at idle, and it's sure to turn a few heads and perk up a few ears. Lay into the throttle, and you're certainly going to notice that difference as well. Where the stock exhaust is nearly whisper quiet, this one has quite a bit more tone, but it still doesn't go too overboard on volume. And as you also heard from the clips at the start of the video, inside the cabin is not all that much louder either. I really do think that the Street Series systems strike a nice balance, and they make your truck sound good without angering everyone else around you. Now, if you want outright raucous volume, this is not going to be your system, but if you want to just kick things up a few notches, I think you'll find this one to your liking. You'll also get to enjoy that better tone at a slightly higher volume than stock inside of the cabin. Now, unlike a lot of other CapEx systems, this one is still going to be pretty unobtrusive on the inside as well. You do get that nice rumble, but nothing too loud or drony, so it makes for a pleasant experience when you're out on the road. But of course, like on the outside, when you really get into it, you get that nice bark that you expect. And all of that is thanks to the muffler. Now, since this is a full catback system, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff up here. This is going to replace your original resonator and muffler, leaving you with just this one. Now, MagnaFlow calls these straight through, and you can see through it a little bit if you really try, but there's also quite a bit of baffling in here to help keep the volume in check and stave off that drone or other unwanted, unpleasant frequencies. Now, this particular system also exits in the stock location. It just features these dual black tips. So while these are certainly different than stock, the placement is going to be the same as your stock exhaust setup. It's going to come out right on the driver's side behind the rear wheel. So it keeps that subtle theme going. And these have that nice slash cut. They're staggered a little bit. They just look pretty darn cool with your truck. Construction here is all T409 grade stainless steel, so it's pretty solid and it's going to provide you with some good resistance to rust and corrosion. And it also saves a bit of money versus a full T304 stainless setup. Now, the piping here is all 3 inches in diameter to the inlet of the muffler, with 2.5-inch piping from the muffler back. And it is all mandrel bent, of course, making for good exhaust flow and lower back pressure than stock, and that's especially important for a turbocharged engine like this one. Now, those over-axle pipes that connect to the tips here, tips are welded on, and these are all finished in this nice black coating, just the same as the tips. Makes for a really cool stealthy appearance, adds another additional layer of protection past the muffler against rust and corrosion. Now, we're not going to pull any punches. Pricing for this one is going to come in at about $1,700, and that does put it at the top of the category currently, but not by a whole lot. Now, you're not getting a ton of fancy features or T304 stainless here, but have to keep in mind, this is a big exhaust. There's a lot of piping here on the table. It takes up almost all the space that I've got here. And you're still gonna get solid construction, a really good sound profile, and it's a great setup for a daily driver. So I think this would make a great choice for your Tundra, especially if you're gonna be logging a lot of miles on it or hanging on to it for a while. Installation, like most catbacks, is going to get a 2 out of 3, and it should take you about 2 hours to get the whole thing done. This is a bolt-on system, doesn't require you to make any modifications to your truck, and it utilizes all of your factory exhaust hanger locations, again, since this exits in the same stock location. All the new clamps and hardware that you need are included in the box too, so it's ready to go. One thing to note though, if you've got a longer bed Tundra, you are going to need to use this included adapter pipe right here after the inlets, as you're going to need that little bit of extra length. But if you've got a shorter bed, you can just leave this off and bolt the rest of it on. But to show you exactly what the entire process looks like, let's head over to the install bay.
The tools you're going to need for this install include an impact, a hanger removal tool, a 15 and a 14 millimeter deep socket, a swivel socket, a 3/8 extension, jack and jack stands, and or pull jacks and a lift. What's up guys? Today we're gonna be installing an exhaust on our Tundra, so let's get started. All right, so the first step is we're gonna remove our tailpipe first. So we're gonna take these 2 bolts and we're gonna remove them with a swivel socket and a 14mm socket. Now once your 2 nuts are removed, we're gonna remove these 2 hangers on before the axle and after the axle. So now we're gonna remove the hanger that's before the axle. So we're gonna take our hanger removal tool. We're gonna squeeze this isolator out of the hanger. Now we're gonna remove our second hanger here. Take our removal tool, pry that out. Make sure you hold up that exhaust. Now from here, we're gonna pull this out. All right, so next step, we're gonna be removing the 2 flanges by the cats. So we're gonna have to take an extension with a swivel socket and a 14mm socket, and we're gonna remove these 2 bolts on each side. So now we're gonna remove these 2 bolts with our 14mm socket. Now you can repeat that process on the other side. So now we're gonna take the hanger removal tool and remove these 2 isolators. And a good idea is to have a pull jack up to hold up your exhaust once these are removed. Now we can move on to the other side of the muffler to remove our other hanger. Now we're gonna remove our last hanger. Make sure you hold this side up. Now from this point, we're gonna remove our whole exhaust system. So now we're gonna remove our exhaust system. I'm gonna lower down this pull jack here. I'm gonna pull back. Remove our pull jack. And now your exhaust is fully uninstalled. All right guys, so the first pipe we're gonna install is gonna be the passenger side. We're gonna reuse that factory hardware. So we're gonna snake this up. We're gonna thread in our bolt and spring. Same for the other side. All right, so now that we have our bolts in, we're gonna tighten that down with our 14mm socket, swivel socket, and our extension. Tighten these down evenly. Next is gonna be our driver's side pipe. First, we're gonna connect our passenger side pipe to this Y area. We're gonna slide our 2.5-inch clamp over that. Now we're gonna slide that in. Now we're gonna reuse those factory bolt and springs to go into our flange. So now that both of our bolts in, we're gonna tighten that down with a 14mm socket, a swivel, and an extension. Now we can head over to our clamp. We're gonna tighten that down with our 15mm socket. Next is gonna be our muffler. We're gonna throw our 3-inch clamp over the outlet. And we're gonna slide our 2 hangers into the isolators, and then we'll get this into the pipe. I'm gonna push back on that muffler. All right guys, so to get this pipes together, it'd be a good idea to grab a pull jack to hold up the other end of the muffler. We're gonna line this up, push all the way over, until they slide in. Connect your hangers. Then we're gonna take our 15mm socket and we're gonna tighten this down. So now we'll take a 15mm socket and we're gonna snug up this clamp. Next up is gonna be our over axle pipe. We're gonna throw that clamp over our pipe. We're gonna take this end and put it over the axle. While we're in the process of that, we're gonna get our hanger into the isolator. Now we're gonna get this into our muffler. From here, we just take off this hanger here and apply them to both sides. And now we can tighten down our clamp with our 15mm socket. Next is gonna be our dual black tips. First, we're gonna slide our clamp over the outlet. We're gonna go and slide that into our over axle pipe. From there, we're gonna slide this hanger onto the isolator, like so. Make sure that's all the way in. We're gonna line up our tips. And now we can tighten up our clamp with our 15mm socket. Now that all of your exhaust components are installed, you can go back through and tighten down all your clamps. An important note I'd like to add, if you have a long bed Tundra, you're gonna need this extension pipe that is included in the kit. That'll go between the muffler and the two front pipes. And once all your components are installed, you're gonna go back through and tighten down all your clamps, and then your install will be complete. So that's gonna wrap up the install on our MagnaFlow Street Series single exhaust system with black tips and side exit for your 22 and newer Tundra Crew Max. Thanks for watching, and for all things Tundra, keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.